Union has brought down the borders all over Europe, and every time another country comes into the European Union, their borders come down, and the borders between them and every other country comes down. And so from Eastern Europe, for instance, people pour into Western European countries, and it becomes, again, exactly the same thing, a cocktail of cultures, which eventually becomes just nothing that really is something people can identify
And the
with.
globalists can also play those different groups off against each other. Not only will they give up their rights, but then I see the trendies always counter back. Oh, well, it's like Star Trek, which we know is predictive programming. We'll all be unified in love. But this isn't some loving world government that we decided to lovingly join. This was covertly built. They now admit it was a covertly built, and it's authoritarian, dehumanizing, and its admitted end game is global depopulation.
Yeah, exactly. And this is a very, very interesting point, a very important point about playing one off against the other. You know, the people that pour from the poorer countries into the richer countries through the borders coming down are just as much pawns in this game as those in the countries, the indigenous population that are affected by that. It's not good guys and bad guys we're talking about here. It's different aspects of the human race being used as pawns in the same game. And this is why, instead of fighting each other, we need to start looking at what unites us all, which is the fact that we're all the target of this cabal, this global fascist dictatorship in the making, and the very fast making. I mean, we have proof in this country a few months ago now that during the Blair administration, they were allowing people immigration into Britain on a scale they weren't admitting to. It came out, one of the people involved blew the whistle on this, and what they were actually saying is they wanted to have so much immigration into Britain that it would, this is the quote, change British society forever. And in that one quote, we have the prime reason for bringing the borders down. This is what they've done in Europe. I mean, the government here now, the new government of Cameron, saying, oh, we must slow down immigration into Britain, but they don't say immigration. They say non-EU immigration, because they have absolutely no power whatsoever, because of the European Union laws now and the giving away of sovereignty, to stop anybody coming in from the European Union into Britain. And that's exactly the position they want. They're doing the same in America, of course, as listeners to this program will well know. And so anyone that challenges this, in America, for instance, they're called racist, and they're targeted by the federal government, as we're seeing in some states of America have tried to make a stand on this. And it's all orchestrated to break down and destroy a sense of what is America, of what is Britain, of what is all these countries that are targeted. And like I say, this is not an attack on what we call immigrants. It's absolutely not, because they are as much pawns in this game as anybody else.
And David, let me just add a brief caveat to that. Absolutely. I mean, it's simple. Whatever the globalists are for, whatever they're really promoting in their councils, we've got to be against. If they're against disarming us, it doesn't mean there aren't some accidents and problems with having an armed society. We've still got to be for it. If they're trying to socialize health care, you get the legislation. It's a eugenics takeover, lowering the quality, raising taxes. We've got to be against it. They want to launch a new war. We've got to be against it. They want open borders. We've got to be against it. I mean, it's very simple. We know these are evil, anti-human, anti-freedom people, and we must stand against everything they stand for. Now, we can intellectualize and then always go down the road and look at why that's the case, but their interests are not the interest of free humanity. So it's very elementary for me.
That's a very, very good point. Let's get it real straight. These people not only don't care about us, they are antagonistic towards us. They want to destroy the human race and bring it under the heel of their global fascist dictatorship.
They want to irrevocably change what humans are in our society, the family, everything, till we are just empty biological androids, and their words that they program. This is the end of humanity. This is the extinction of humanity, is their stated goal in every document I've got by their transhumanist futurist. These are human-hating scum.
This is what we're dealing with, and therefore, as you quite rightly say, if they're for it, then it's bad for the human race. And we've got to be a bit more kind of streetwise about this and not see everything in black and white. The question of gun ownership. I've never had a gun. I don't want a gun. I don't want to use a gun. I'm not into any of that stuff, but a lot of people have guns in America. The question that comes up is, should people have guns or should people not have guns? And that's a debate, okay? But it's not the debate that's at the heart of what's happening now. The question should be, why do the people who have a deep hatred for humanity, why do they want to disarm the American population now? That's the key thing we ought to be looking at. We can have these debates about this and immigration. The question is, why does the cabal want to do it? And the answer is always because it advances their agenda towards the global fascist dictatorship in which, as you rightly say, it won't just be an economic dictatorship, a political dictatorship. We're talking about a genetic dictatorship where they will not only own our bodies and have literally lawful ownership on our bodies. That's where they're going. But they will genetically control us and control us through microchips. That's where they want to go. And if we're going to get pulled away into diversions of debates about this and debates about that, there's one debate at the moment until we've sorted this. Why do they want to do A, B, C, and D? And that's the question we need to keep asking all the time to keep on top of where we're going.
And we know what they want. They're so arrogant that they all write white papers on government health care, on the environment movement, on cap and trade. They admit it's to shut down industry, bankrupt everyone, have a huge state that's the only thing that's funded, that literally absorbs humanity and begins accelerating their soft kill operations. We know they've already been introducing poisons into our environment and into the vaccines and foods. We've caught them. We've got countless documents where they admit they're doing it. Now they want to accelerate that up to a hot kill level like we've seen in areas of Africa. And thank God you're out there exposing these people.
Well, you know, there are people that know there's a conspiracy. There's people that know that there is a ridiculously few people who are pulling the strings of the world. But we've still got a long way to go with a lot of people to fully understand the scale of what we're dealing with. The rabbit hole goes so deep, it's staggering. And we're not even dealing with just human entities. We're dealing with non-human entities. We're dealing with entities that operate outside the field of vision of what we call visible light, which our eyes can see and appears to be this world. There are other worlds.
Well, David, I'll say this.
Penetrate this one, and it's involving those two. So this is really, really deep stuff that we're dealing with here. Not just what appears to be men in dark suits sitting around a table deciding their next move. Much bigger than that.
Well, no, I agree with you because I've studied the elite, and they believe they're in contact with entities. I've been to Bohemian Grove. I've covered Skull&Bones. I've read the Pentagon's own writings. They believe they're being given, every one of them. It says they're channeling things, that they're being directed at the highest levels. At the mid-levels, it's hedonist, it's Satanist, it's people that want money and power. At the top, these are very focused people working 18 hours a day, and they believe they're working for an entity that I can only describe as the devil. People can call it whatever they want. David, stay there. Let's look at some other contemporary issues, and from that window, expand and go down the rabbit hole from different angles. We'll be back with David Icke. DavidIcke.com is his website. I'm Alex Jones with Infowars.com.
Remain in your houses. The President of the United States has declared martial law under Executive Order 11,004.
Will they do it? Will they pull the trigger this time? We all pray they stand down, but an engineered crisis seems more likely with each passing day. Think it can't happen here? Executive Order 10990 locks down all highways. Executive Order 10995 seizes control of all media outlets. Executive Order 10998 controls all farms and food supplies. All these executive orders are now cocked, loaded, and waiting for the right crisis. So if you're worried about the possibility of martial law here in America or have questions about how to survive it, go to martiallawsurvival.com. That's martiallawsurvival.com. Go to martiallawsurvival.com right now.
You must remain in your houses until your bracelets are scanned.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold for your IRA? That's right. Gold has been available to be placed in IRAs since 1986. Yet still, the financial industry refuses to recognize the value of real hard assets for your retirement. The truth be told, gold and silver has outperformed paper investments like stocks, bonds, and CDs, yet no word about IRAs. Perhaps the financial institutions want to maintain control of your assets by keeping you in paper. If you'd like to take a look at gold for your retirement, call 800-686-2237. Don't get left behind by rising inflation and low return on your paper investments. Call 800-686-2237. Make sure that you secure your future. Call 800-686-2237. That's 1-800-686-2237.
The question